I have an announcement that's going to lead off the show, and it's going to make my partner very, very happy. Let's go. What you see on the screen, it's what's happening right now. It's episode 16 of the Sports Senseis with myself, even though my headset took a dive, and Drew Willingham with us this afternoon. Sensei Drew. Now, I got to begin by giving Drew a shout out because he really lit me up this week. He lit me up and he said, "Look, I know you can do better, but you ain't doing it." Normally, I'd get mad at a statement like that, but I didn't. I took it all in stride and I said, you know what? He's right. So I blew up my studio. I put it back together. I blew up my schedule, put it back together. And this is not an April Fool's joke. Beginning tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, you will hear this show on WQEE 99.1 FM in Metro Atlanta.
Nice!
I just got the word 5 minutes ago. They're loving the programming I'm sending to them. And Ryan O'Neill, the man in charge of the station, I pitched it to him. And his next 3 words were, anything for you. So we got our first over-the-air station for the Sports Senseis each and every Saturday, 2 p.m. And a welcome to those of you listening on WQEE in Metro Atlanta. A shout to my buddy Rod Peterson, who was on the station with them, Chris Palme, and the rest of the bunch there. So, surprise!
Nice! Congratulations, Snowman, for making it happen. Congratulations to myself for lighting the fire under your rear end. This makes my weekend.
Too. It's to you too, because like I said, you
gotta do it, Snowman. Gotta light that fire sometimes. Sometimes you just gotta pick up the slack while you're running with the ball. And in moments like these, when I just feel like you gotta give a friend a word of advice, that's just how it was. And everyone, thank you all for tuning in for episode 16 of the Sports Senseis Unleashed. I am Drew Willingham here with the man, the myth, and the legend.
There you
the
are.
Snowman.
I'm sorry. Never mind. We're here. How about those LSU Lady Tigers? 102 points in a national championship game.
That
you can't do any better than that.
That was insane, Snowman. That was a great contest. Because when you look at so many of the games in history, there's not many games, especially in a women's game, where they've scored 100 and some points.
Mm-hmm.
And this year they did. And shout out to LSU for making it happen and for being the team to, in some cases there were some surprises there, but to many, this really wasn't much of a surprise as the way things panned out for this team at the end of this tournament.
Not a surprise at all. Angel Reese, your most outstanding player of the Final Four. And I got to give some kudos to not only Angel Reese, but Caitlin Clark, because so much was made of Caitlin Clark's gesture and Angel Reese's gesture in return. When you're in the throes of competition, things happen. Okay, Caitlin Clark did the "you can't see me" gesture to South Carolina. Angel Reese did it to Iowa because everyone expected Iowa to win because they took down number 1 South Carolina, and Angel Reese and company felt very disrespected. I can't say I blame them. No one gave them a chance against Virginia Tech. They came back with a big fourth quarter and beat Virginia Tech, and then they took down America's sweetheart and Caitlin Clark in Iowa. But this Angel Reese some credit. Look, Angel Reese said, "Look, leave Caitlin Clark alone. All right, we know what she did. We know how we felt, but it's in the throes of competition. I'll take that kind of sportsmanship any day of the week."
Absolutely, especially when you're decimating a team by 17 points. I mean, 102-85 was the final score in that national championship game. But Snowman name dropped all the players there. The collective unit of the LSU team just flowed a lot better than that Iowa team, and that's what proved 102 points.
Yeah, you can't go 1-on-5, and Caitlin Clark tried to do that, even though she dropped 30 points against LSU. But it was the team effort of Kim Mulkey and the Lady Tigers that brought the first ever basketball championship to LSU, which is saying a lot right there, considering the players that men's basketball for LSU has had in their history, including one where the basketball arena is named after Pistol Pete Maravich. And to have that kind of game in the national championship, one, they should have played it in prime time, and two, they should have played it without ESPN attached to it. I mean, granted, it was on ABC, but it was at 3:30 in the afternoon. It was something that, something like what CBS was going through when they had the women's national tournament on their station, in particular the national championship game, which leads me to this question. How soon or how far away are we from seeing women's sports? And I'm using women's college basketball as an example from someone who's covered it for over 20 years. When are we going to see them get to the spotlight? When are we going to see them get not just to the spotlight, but a constant spotlight?
I think we're getting closer now more than ever, but we still have a ways to go. I mean, especially when you look outside of college sports and you look at the WNBA, and I mean, it's made some strides and taken some hurdles over the past few years. They're still light years away because the income, the revenue for the sport isn't near what men's sports and revenue is.
Right.
So when you put all that into perspective, I feel like we're closer now more than ever, but we still have a ways to go before we can really answer that question.
Yeah, for me, it's unfortunate. And I say this with a bit of a bias because I've covered women's sports, play-by-play wise for so many years. And I've seen so much of a difference between the women's sports and the men's sports. But you're absolutely right. The income is what tells the story. The income is what sends women's players overseas because they're getting significantly more money, which brings me to why can't we see this at home? Because I know some players that have played in the WNBA that I had a chance to cover in high school. One of which is Shanice Jenkins, who played at DePaul University, was voted the Big East Player of the Year, and it wasn't until her last year in professional basketball where she got a call from the Phoenix Mercury.
Yeah. I mean, if we actually saw more scoring like what we saw in that national championship game, I think that we would get even closer because the height between the two gender sports with men's and women's is, men's sports have more scoring, have more action.
Right.
If we had this consistently like we saw in the national championship game, I feel like that question would be thrown out the window, and then we would start to see a little bit more revenue pick up within the sport.
True. I'll give you that. Let's go to the Fanatics feedback zone really quick. Mickey Delaney joining us from the Pacific Northwest. We are doing fine. Robert Owens says, I don't see a problem with either of them trash talking as a part of sports. Yeah, you got that right. Drew and I trash talk each other all the time, considering I'm the greatest. I gotta have fun with this, considering I'm a fan of the greatest quarterback that ever played, and Drew is a fan of 1A. All right,
I'm a fan of who?
1A. Tom Brady.
Snowman, I'm being real. I don't like the man. I have said it on several occasions. I despise the man. However, you don't have to like the person to give him credit.
Why are you touting him? I'm kidding as I do this. I'm throwing a laugh out of you. Be Easy joins us, says LSU had some dogs, was good, but just not good enough. Yeah, Yeah, it's true. It's true. He's talking about the reference I made to men's basketball. Man, congratulations to you and Drew Willingham. Yeah, it had to happen, and not to mention my wife lit a fire under me. Also, Kim Mulkey is a great
Thanks,
coach,
Dr. K.
and Joseph Raymond. Don't get me wrong, what Clark did was disrespectful, but the entire LSU team embellished it and took it to a point where it didn't need to be in regards to the showboating. I don't think it was showboating. I think
Speaking
it
of
was just pure unadulterated competition, and the level was raised in that championship game, because who expected LSU and Iowa to be competing for the national championship? Look at it from that standpoint.
Facts. And you're giving shout outs. I got to give a shout out real quick too. My man Joey Raymond with the comment right there. The 16-time Vault of Fame inductee will be returning this Saturday for episode 90 with Chris Dietz this Saturday on the Inner Sports.
So you have a triple play coming Saturday. This I got to see.
I got the trios edition. We got episode 89 today. It was supposed to be Karita Parks with a 3-point conversion. She accidentally double booked herself, and I had to get another legend in there to fill her place, and that being the legend Kyle Nash, the current 3-time Vault of Fame inductee, will be back tonight for 89. Tomorrow, trios edition with Joey and Dietz. Definitely going to be an exciting weekend because we had to get this stuff in before Easter.
I know how Karita feels about double booking yourself, because I've doubled and triple booked myself too many times. That's why earlier today I was pulling some stuff back, and I said, I have to put a pause on a lot of things. And the folks that I had scheduled for today, they completely understand. Matter of fact, Dana Reagan, who is going to be starting a baseball show with me, he said, we're just going to have that first episode we do cover the first couple of weeks. And I said, that's no problem. That is no problem whatsoever, which is why I have taken the initiative that my wife has said, and I printed out my daily schedule.
Yes.
I got the whole stack for the rest of the month of April. Now it's just involving me looking at my computer, writing everything down, and making sure everything is synced up. We're just getting started here on the Sports Senseis Unleashed with Drew Willingham. This is episode 16. 16, the number of the greatest quarterback to ever play the game. Pause for a break. When we come back, I'm throwing every playful shot at you that I can, brother. Let's pause for a break. When we come back, we're going to talk another kind of football, XFL style. They're heading into week number 8. Can y'all believe that? And the USFL is not far behind. Our football discussion is next when y'all get back.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
The original Think Drink is back. Level up with proven ingredients formulated to crush your competition. No gimmicks, no jitters, no messing around. Just high potency results that keep you moving day or night. There's a new nerd in town, and we came to play. Nerd Focus, smarter than energy.
Course, Steph Curry, Tim Anderson, Jordan Alvarez, and it's caught. Deebo Samuel with the catch.
Michael Jordan can sense
the throw, just got the king.
BS3 Network,
The hottest of hot takes. The coldest of cold hard facts. This is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. Weekdays at 8 a.m. Eastern. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
My headset is dangling from my ear again.
As his headset dangles from his ear, welcome back to episode 16 of the Sports Senseis Unleashed.
Welcome back indeed. I got to tell y'all this story. Just as I was getting ready to come on with episode 16, I went to put this over my head and I heard pop right on my left side. And I went, oh no. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I got to go get some earbuds or try the ones that I have here. But I'm not working with this dangling headset. I've done that too many times. And for those of you watching via YouTube, that is what's going on here. Speaking of what's going on, the drive toward May 13th in San Antonio, Texas is now in earnest as we have come to week 8 of the XFL. And I got to start with this. What happened to DC, man? They got outscored. What's
Snowman, do not rub it in. You are rubbing it in this moment because you know I am a fan of the DC Defenders teams. Now, I'm not as much of a homer as one Joseph Raymond of my Inter-Hour Sports Debate staff. I continuously say that, and I give him a little bit of hell right there as we have him as a fan right now watching this show.
Yes.
But when you look at this game, they were in Orlando. Okay, so they didn't have the home field advantage.
Nope.
Kyle Nash was in attendance, so that right there was bad luck for my team, the DC Defenders. So I'm going to share this clip with them tonight. Kyle Nash, because you were there in attendance, you were bad juju for my team, the DC Defenders. So Kyle Nash, blaming you for the defeat that my team suffered at the hands of your team.
You can't do that. That's not fair.
Kyle Nash was there taking pictures and writing on his notepad, and that was bad juju for my team.
Wait. I want you to hold up. I haven't done any sounds here in a while. I want you to say that last statement again about Kyle Nash. Say that again.
Kyle Nash was taking pictures and writing on his notepad, and that was bad juju for my DC Defenders.
What?
What? Oh man!
But all Kyle did was walk in to Camping World Stadium and go,
"What's up, Doc?"
and make Drew go,
"What?"
Because
I mean, to go into that game still undefeated in week 7 and be 6-0 is still a great feat for the DC Defenders.
Indeed.
I feel like that the defeat that they suffered at the hands of the Orlando Guardians is going to be a motivational tackling fuel, as they say in the Waterboy, to help them get to the promised land this year and get the XFL championship in DC for the first time.
Yeah. I'm sure. I'm thinking that may be the case. And as I said, the drive towards San Antonio is in earnest right now. Let's take a look at the week 8 schedule, and it starts tomorrow with a 1 p.m. kickoff in St. Louis as the Vegas Vipers will take on the St. Louis Battlehawks. That'll be on ESPN Plus. You know, if a team has home field advantage, an unfair home field advantage, it's got to be St. Louis because they have the biggest crowds in the XFL right now.
They do. They don't have the best win-loss record, but they definitely do have the best the fans right now and the best turnout per game.
Yeah.
St. Louis has been missing a football team since the Rams went to LA anyway. So they're pouring that energy into the St. Louis Battlehawks team to prove to the NFL we deserve another team here in St. Louis.
And St. Louis is coming off of a 24-15 win in Houston. That's a rarity as well, because it just seemed like Houston and DC were on their way to on a collision course to meet in the XFL championship game. But be that as it may, there's still 3 weeks left in the regular season. There's still a playoff round to go through because the top 2 teams in each division make it to the playoffs. And I tell you what, St. Louis is not going away anytime soon. They're not going away.
No, they're not. And led by A.J. McCarron, another NFL caliber player who was a backup for quite some time. It's just nice to see what his potential would have been because he didn't really get many opportunities past his second or third season because in college he was touted as one of the great quarterbacks to come out in the draft, and we didn't quite see him live up to the hype. He's doing so here in the XFL, at least being one of the premier players within the league to help boost the name of the XFL up from where it once was.
How big was that win for St. Louis going into Houston in enemy territory in a team that against a team, I should say, that could potentially be a championship matchup for them? But as I said, we got 4 weeks of football left to play. Of course, we got the semifinals before we get to the championship, but that was a big win for St. Louis on the road in a very tough place to play.
Well, first of all, Snowman, neither one or both of these teams are going to be in the championship game facing each other. Maybe one of the two will be facing the DC Defenders. Let's just get that right now.
Y'all got to get there.
Well,
y'all got to get there. And I say this about every team. You have to get there. Now,
only one loss this year. I like our chances.
DC has very much the inside track to the North Division. Don't get it twisted. They have very much the inside track to the North Division, but it's a long way to go. If you want to talk about 4 weeks, and it's a sprint now to the finish line of the regular season, and also to host a playoff game, because as it stands right now, DC would indeed host a playoff game. I'm taking nothing away from them, and I'm betting nothing against them. But as a fan that has covered football for some 20 years, and I'll say it again, y'all got to get there. Do I believe they will? Yes.
The first response I have to that.
You know this to be true. Just ask the Washington Redskins. Stranger things have happened at the wrong time. And that's all I'm saying.
The first response I have to that is, in that picture right up there.
Yes, sir.
Just imagine me singing, "It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll." Yeah,
you got the long hair to do it, man. I'm as bald as Michael Jordan. I'm not gonna try that song. It's like my wife makes the joke all the time as well as I get paid to talk, not sing. Okay.
Snowman, I'm feeling great today. Good. Had a little bit of hamburger helper today, if you know what I'm saying, before we got started. Okay, and then
the question is, how much did you have? How much did you help yourself to?
An easy helping of hamburger helper there.
Oh, an easy helping
for the haters out there in these streets.
Right.
Anyway,
right.
When it comes back to actual talking factual sports talk,
yep,
we're back here on the Sports Senseis Unleashed, episode 16. Snowman giving me a hard time about the XFL championship, saying that the Battlehawks and the Roughnecks are potentially in the championship game. Now, when you've got all the hype that the Houston Roughnecks have had,
you got to get to San Antonio.
When you've had all the hype that the Houston Roughnecks have had this season because they were great in one of the last renditions of the XFL, which was pre-pandemic.
Yep,
okay,
2020.
Yeah, so when you look at that, and the Battlehawks come into your town and battle you and defeat you 24-15, you are not going to the championship game. I said it before, and I will say it again. In the first two matchups, St. Louis Battlehawks and the DC Defenders, this right here, and I even said there in our first matchup earlier on in the season, said this could potentially be our championship matchup right here.
You did. You absolutely did. And it could potentially be a championship matchup. All I'm saying is y'all got to get there. Now, I have no doubts whatsoever with the Defenders defense, and this is tackling fuel big time for DC, losing by 8 points to Orlando, and Orlando couldn't score the football if their lives depended on it, and somehow 37 points later, and it was one of the games I couldn't take my eyes off of, because I figure DC undefeated, Orlando winless, it was going to be a walk-in win for DC, Boy, was I ever wrong. And I'm glad I didn't put any money on it. And let me ask this.
What's
With
that?
this aspect of the XFL, do you like the live lines that they do? That they change the lines during the game, or do you want it set at one line? DC, use an example, DC 7.5 over Orlando. Do you want it to stay at that line, or do you like when it fluctuates during the game?
I like the live updates because for those of you who are like playing DraftKings and
Right.
stuff like that, like, and say you don't get your bet in before the game starts, like seeing the live ticker kind of helps you justify, well, it's second quarter. I still got time. Should I put some money down this game now while
Yeah.
and it lets you know where we're at. So at that point, I kind of feel like if for those, and they're getting heavily invested, they're more invested in DraftKings, the XFL, and the other betting sites than the NFL or any other like professional sports. So kudos to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson for getting all this going in the first season of his XFL.
You think it's picked it up for DraftKings? You think it's like rescued them because they were on life support for a while, weren't they?
This rendition of the XFL, not as much as the last one or the first one. This one, if I were to judge all three renditions of the XFL at this point, I would say this is the most successful because we've actually gotten close to having a full season, which we did in the first year that we had it back in 2001. But it was a completely different scenario back then. The world has changed so much in the past 22 years.
Right.
When you look at everything as a whole, the weeks that it really took a big hit was the Daytona 500 was that week when they had Daytona 500. That Sunday, the ratings weren't all that great. Then you got March Madness. Of course, no matter what you got, NBA, spring training, no matter what kind of sports are out there, all those ratings are going to take a dive once March Madness hits, okay?
Yeah.
Now we're in April. We're starting to get close to playoff football. This is going to be the test right here because the only things we really got right now are the NBA wrapping up its season. Even though we got golf and the Masters and stuff, this doesn't have as much views as, say, like the NBA and other sports and stuff. Let's just be real about that. People with their pinkies up to their mouth like Dr. Evil are the ones watching the freaking golf ones on a regular basis. I'll watch like the important ones with the Masters and stuff, but if you're watching golf every week like we're watching football, you got your pinky up to your mouth, okay? So when you think about that and you think about like you got NBA, you got, baseball just started the season.
Right.
Baseball, after the first week or two, people don't really get revved up into baseball until after basketball ends in June. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we got the summer of baseball and stuff like that too. So I think now is as good of a time as ever is for the XFL to show their true ratings. And I feel like over the course of the next 3 to 4 weeks, we're going to see a little bit of a boost in XFL ratings because of how important these games are going to be over the course of the next 3 to 4 weeks.
Back to the football action. DC will go to Seattle. That's on Sunday with a 7 p.m. Kickoff at Lumen Field in Seattle. DC coming off of its first loss of the season. Seattle's won 5 in a row now. So Seattle gaining a little bit of momentum. Second straight road game for the defenders. I should say. Take a peek in your crystal ball and take a look at this game. And let's just put it out there. How big is this game in terms of a bounce back for DC, and how big is this game for Seattle being at home, winners of 5 straight?
I don't think this game is as much of an importance for DC as it is for the Sea Dragons because, you've got some decent players in that team. You got Josh Gordon, when you got Josh Gordon, and as good of a player as he is with or without the lettuce, you've got to give him the nod here because of how talented this guy is.
Yeah.
But the rest of the team just hasn't seemed like they've been falling in place around him. And I feel like this is more of an important game for Seattle to prove what they've got going forward for the rest of this season and potentially for next. There's only 3 games left of this season. This is the final 3 weeks of the season. And you're playing the top dog and the DC Defenders. This is more important for Seattle to get the victory than it is for DC because DC could still lose this game and still be at the top of the league.
Yeah, it's an interdivision matchup, but you're right. It's more of a key game for Seattle than it is for DC, but at the same time, you want the continuity to still be there with DC as they drive toward the playoffs and potentially toward a trip to the Alamo Dome for the championship game. I don't want to say this is a trap game for DC, but the defenders have to play like it is a trap game, and they really have to be prepared for this Seattle team that's on a roll right now.
Absolutely. And the big thing we kind of skipped over it. We went to women's national championship and straight to XFL. We didn't even do the men's national championship yet.
We'll do that when we come back. I want you to peek at we will do the men's national championship and honor the Yukon Huskies. Trust me, that's on the docket. But in looking at the XFL, they have the championship game in San Antonio. Let's take a look at that.
Brahmas aren't going.
No, the Brahmas are not. So my question to you being, can they fill the house in San Antonio? Can they put 65,000 in San Antonio for the championship game?
It's a tough one to answer because except for the first week, I don't think we've seen any sold out games since the first week, and potentially it might not have even been fully sold out during those first week games, because even though it looked close with the Audi Field with DC's game, which was a night game, I feel like I don't think we've come close to even fully selling out the stadium yet. And This is the XFL game, and we've only had one XFL championship in history, which was the first season.
Yeah,
and if my memory serves me correct, they didn't even fully sell that one out either.
Yeah, they didn't sell out the Coliseum. Lots to look forward to with the XFL heading into week number 8. We'll take a pause for the cause, and when we come back, we will indeed honor the Yukon Huskies on their dominant, and I mean dominant, national championship when y'all get back.
WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key, home of Southern Sports and Talk, Noonan, Sharpsburg, Franklin. It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Fridays, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
Hey, y'all, Snowman here. Catch Snowman in the morning at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on WQEE 99.1 FM. This is the show where we cover the Falcons, the Hawks, the Atlanta Braves, and we cover you, the Atlanta sports fan. That's Snowman in the morning, 6 p.m. Eastern, weeknights, right here on WQEE 99.1 FM. And when you tune into the show and you want to bring others, tell them Snowman sent you.
This is Adam Vanelli of the Columbus River Dragons, your home for River Dragons hockey in Noonan 99 Rock.
Listen to the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge, Monday through Friday from 2 to 3 p.m. on WQEE 99.1 FM The Key. If you are a sports fan in Columbus, it doesn't get any more local than the Sports Beat. We cover Columbus River Dragons, Columbus Rapids, Columbus Lions, Columbus Chattahoochee, Columbus State Cougars and Lady Cougars, and all the high school football and basketball action in the Chattahoochee Valley. If you have a sports question or would like to be a guest, you could always message me on my Twitter page or Facebook page, Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge.
WQEE 99.1 FM The Key, home of Southern Sports and Talk, Noonan, Sharpsburg, Franklin.
Back here on this edition of the Sports Senseis Unleash. A shout to those listening via 99.1 FM, The Key, along with Drew Willingham, Brian Snow here with you. And how about those Yukon Huskies? Every single win in this past tournament by double digits. Every single win. I point to two of them. They blew out Gonzaga and they blew out San Diego State. San Diego State, quite honestly, had no business being there, but that is why they play the games. But talk about this Yukon Husky team, man, and how dominant they were on their way to claiming their 5th national championship since 1999.
Well, first of all, to defend that, I got to go back to episode 88 of the Inter-Out Sports Debate and actually say that my prediction was correct. I predicted the Yukon Huskies to win by 17 points. And what do they do? They won 76 to 59 and decimated their opponent. When
did.
you look at this team, the UConn Huskies going against the San Diego Aztecs, the Aztecs had one heck of a season, finishing
did.
off at 32-7 and being the ranked 5th place team in that division they were in the NCAA tournament and getting as far as they did. It's not often, and this is a special tournament, I believe, because it's not often that we see a ranked 5 against a ranked 4 of another division.
Right.
You know, and there's Brian McCarthy in the chat, bow to your senseis, bow to you as we give you this men's final championship take. UConn 17-point decimated victory over San Diego Aztecs. And you look at Lamont Butler and what he did for San Diego State, and Darian Trammell both scoring 13 points along with Kashad Johnson still was not enough for the Aztecs as they still lost by 17 points. You got Tristan Newton, you got Adama Sanago, and you've got Jordan Hawkins, who were the big three of UConn to help lead them towards the victory in this game. Snowman, 17 points. They absolutely got decimated.
Speaking of 17 points, Adama Sanago, your most outstanding player, 17 points, 10 rebounds. How big was he for this Connecticut team in this championship run?
Absolutely awesome. And that's the best word I could put, because I don't even like saying amazing at this point. He was awesome. Some people think amazing is better than awesome, but in my opinion, awesome is better than amazing. And when it comes to this turnout that we had for the national championship game, you think if that guy's impact was absolutely impactful for that guy to be there, had he not been there, I don't think they would have won by as much. They might have only won by 7. Instead, they won by 17, Snowman.
Do you think with their blowout win over Gonzaga to get to the Final Four in Houston, do you think it's time to stop touting Gonzaga as one of, and I got nothing against Mark Few, had a chance to meet the man, but 2 national championship game appearances for Gonzaga. They fell short in both games, once to North Carolina, once to Baylor. And then this happens. Do we take Gonzaga out of the elite team equation, or do we leave them there with the potential of someday winning a national championship? Do we leave them in the elite team conversation, or do we take them out until they win the thing?
Take them out, Snowman. Take them out. They've had too much hype since the mullet with the mustache, Adam Morrison, was on that team 15 years ago. Yeah. He is no longer with the team. He was a bust in the NBA, even worse than what you hate as LeBron James. Yeah. So you got to look at that and the fact that they have had so much time on the mountaintop and they've absolutely done nothing with it. Right. That's why I feel like they need to get this team out of there until they actually earn their spot at the top.
And speaking of elite, Connecticut should have never left people's conversation as being not only an elite team, and it's rare for me to use this word, but I'll use it here, a dynasty. This is their 5th national championship since 1999. Of course, they won their first one over Duke in Tampa. Every other championship they won in Texas. So whenever the Final Four is in the state of Texas, be it San Antonio or Dallas or Houston, and they've now won in all 3 places, you can expect Connecticut to be there.
I believe so. I mean, we've seen better play out of the women's UConn Huskies team over the course of the past 2 decades. It's nice to see the men's team get there for the first time since 2014.
True. And UConn, I believe, is still the only team to date where the men's and the women's won the national, and the women's team won national titles in the same year. That, of course, is 2004 when they pulled the deed. Adama Sanogo, most outstanding player. What do you think of this big man? And what do you think of his chances of going to the next level?
He's going. With what I saw and the impact that he made on this team throughout the course of this tournament, I have no doubt within my mind that this kid is going to make it to the big dance and being the NBA. And with what he was able to pull off along with his other teammates, he was definitely the star of the team. But you got to tip your cap to a talent like that. He definitely deserves to make it to the next level, at least get the shot to prove what he's worth.
Shout out to the UConn Huskies and Adama Sanogo, the most outstanding player, and the UConn Huskies winning their 5th national championship since 1999. Our shouts to them. When we come back, we're going to have a little fun with some nicknames. I posed a question online, and I want to see what y'all's responses are and I want to hear from Drew as well. Welcome to those listening on WQEE 99.1 The Key, our first in our syndication deal. We got a lot more, and we got a lot more of this when y'all get back.
So this thing called sports, it has fans again. It has full stadiums, full arenas, and more. And you want to be a part of it, don't you? Of course you do. If you begin to scour the resale market, there will be tickets available. And what you need to get those tickets that you want so badly is SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the app available to you that lends a hand in helping you get the tickets that you want for the events that you want. SeatGeek rates the tickets on a 1 to 10 scale, and the best part is the tickets are vetted for authenticity, so you know what you are getting and you know you are not getting scammed. And now you can save even more by using the code Snowman and getting $20 off with your very first purchase. Yes, you can do all of that with the power of SeatGeek, helping you get to the games that you want, so you fans can fan. So let's all fan.
I got the power!
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made home ownership happen. Homeschooling yourself on loans, beefing up your credit score.
So I'm pre-approved.
You were like, yes! Sorry. Color coding listings, ticking boxes, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. Home sweet home. You aced house hunting. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a show that really needs a new lineup of commercials. The Sports Senseis Unleashed.
Mold him! Mold him! You're fired! Mold him!
I love it.
I've been waiting to use those.
I knew it. That's why I wanted to give you a reason to use them with our new line of
Mold him!
Okay, you smart Alec, take this. That's all you get.
I got my 4 seconds. Thank you, Snowman. Even though I give you like 30 seconds every show that I have on my shows for this show, you gave me 4 seconds, and I love you for it.
Let me roll the whole thing. There's a, and of course now I'm getting the cue in my ear.
Mold him!
I'm not gonna do All right, here's the question I put on my Facebook page for those of you who follow. For those of you that are fans of Chris Berman, as I am, what is your favorite nickname that he came up with? for a player that what was your favorite Bermanism is the question I put up. I put up.
It's
My
tough.
first favorite was one of my favorites, Andres the Giant Galarraga, for Andres the Galarraga. And I don't know why I like this one so much, but it was the way he came up with Carlos, 1 if by land, 2 if by sea, 3 if by air. And the responses that rolled in when I put this out there were crazy. And they're still rolling in. What are a couple of your favorites?
One of them is Mike, you're in good hands with Allstott.
With
That is one of
Allstott.
my favorite
There you
ones.
go.
The well-dressed Amani Toomer.
Well-dressed Amani Toomer. Yep.
Jeff Brown Paper Bagwell is another one.
Yep.
Ahmad A Christmas Carol. Another one is Miguel Tejada They Come, Tejada They Fall.
Tejada They Come.
Todd Highway to Helton.
Yep. Todd Highway to Helton.
Sammy Say It Ain't Sosa.
I've said that a few times. Barry U.S. Bonds.
Jake Daylight Come and You Gotta Tell Home. Matt Stump the Shab.
Stump the Shab.
Chuck New Kids on the Knoblock.
Mm-hmm. New Kids on Knoblock. That was one of my original I mentioned one of my original favorites. Barry U.S. Bonds. Kirby Union Gap Puckett. But if I have an all-time favorite, it's John, I Am Not a Crook.
Yes. John, I Am Not a Crook. Also, Joseph, Live and Let a Die.
Live and Let a Die. Yep.
Raleigh Chicken Fingers. Moises Skip to Malou.
Skip to Alou. Yep.
Jeff Philadelphia Feagles, the kicker.
Mm-hmm.
For the
Jeff Feagles.
Mike Pepperoni Piazza.
I love
Daryl Strawberry Shortcake.
Strawberry Shortcake.
Yep. Harold Growing Baines. There's one more that I had. Oh, I always thought Stuart Scott called him this because he repeated it, but I didn't know that Berman was the one that came up with it. Albert Winnie the Pooh Holes.
Yeah. Berman originated that.
The next one would be Greg Mathematics.
Mm-hmm. Or Greg Appomattox.
And the name that he has for Scott Brocious, I don't even know if I can say this correctly.
I'll say it for you. Scott Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Yes. Yes.
I'll say that one for you.
That one, because of the amount of characters in name, was my favorite. There's so many characters in the nickname. It takes forever to say
try and say that one five. Oh, here you go. Ryan McCarthy, Wade Cranberry Boggs.
Yep. Wade
Y'all
Cranberry
got
Boggs.
throw it in the chat, and I'll throw it up here. Let's see who else.
I always
Ben
liked
Winter
watching
Coat.
him call baseball games when he was calling home runs.
Yes.
Back. Oh!
Ben Satin Sheets. Ben Winter Coats. And one of my other all-time favorites, Bert B. Home Blyleven. One of yours, well, you had mentioned it, and my buddy Mike DeVay, who will be on with me next Friday when we start our draft coverage, Todd Highway to Helton, like you mentioned before.
Mm-hmm.
Daylight Coming, You Gotta Delhomme. Victor just mentioned that one to me because he's tuned in while I work, and he just texted that one to me.
Vic, why are you not watching and commenting in the chat?
Because he's working. That's why.
But he can text. It doesn't make any sense. If you can text,
perfect sense
you
to me.
can comment on the video, Vic.
You know what? This is for you.
Moot him!
Don't try to give me excuses, Snowman.
Moot him!
Because you know.
You're fired!
I will call you out.
Bring it on.
Moot him!
Just did.
That.
Moot him!
I did it again.
Moot him!
Headset did this.
There you go. It looks like it looks like a note on a music tray, doesn't it? For those of you watching via YouTube, this is what happened to my headset before I came on this afternoon. It popped, and I decided, you know what, it's gonna be a running joke for the next hour. So the heck with it.
No, you're good. I've it's happened to me before. Like, and one time it happened like right at the worst possible time. Like I had like some car work I had to do, and I just didn't have the extra funds to really buy a headset. I mean, I didn't want to
Right.
pull out a savings, so for the next 2 weeks till I got paid, I put electrical tape around that unit, and it happened to be like a headset like this where it was all black where you couldn't see it.
Yes.
So like nobody even knew. So I ended up just using that thing for like the next 2 months until like I was like, all right, I'll buy a really nice one and wait. Because nobody notices. I can't even notice when I watch that back to video. It looks like a regular headset.
Yeah.
So if you can find some electrical tape around the house and make it happen,
You know,
Snowman.
I think I got some duct tape I can put on this thing and make it work. Like I said, I also got an extra wireless headset. I have to find it. It's probably in my old office.
I just always like the wired ones because you don't get lag. Like
Yeah.
this
I
headset
like
is
wired.
actually do Bluetooth and do a
Mhm.
wireless, but I prefer the aux cable because there's no lag in the sound.
Yeah. What I'm trying to set up is finding a wireless headset that I can attach to my mixer. So when I have to do dishes around the house, I can still be wired. I can still be wired into the sounds I have and my post production and everything. What are some other favorite? You know what? Speaking of nicknames, I have to tell this story, and I've done it on the morning show, and I have to do it here. When Victor and I were doing baseball, we were doing summer baseball. I had this kid by the name of Ryan Sample. All right. I want y'all to keep that last name in mind. Some of you who tuned into the morning show may have heard it, but I gotta tell the story here. Ryan Sample. All right. It was late in the day, and his mom came up to me and said, I have a funny story for you about the last name. About that time, before I said bring it on, her mother said, don't tell him. He'll run with it. Don't tell him. So she started telling the story anyway. And you ever have someone tell you a story where you get the feeling something goofy is going to be said and you're going to lose it? I didn't get that feeling at first until her mom warned her, don't go with it. Don't tell him. Yeah, she told me. So she's telling me how she met her husband and everything, Ryan's dad, and I'm thinking, okay, where's the shoe going to drop? In the middle of her explanation comes this sentence, and I kid you not, when she said, now remember, the kid's last name was Sample. Next thing I know, she said to me, quote, because my maiden name was Seaman.
Wow.
I am dead serious.
Wow. When you say that and the actual like left earlobe flops in the wind while you say that,
it was done.
that makes it freaking hilarious, though, man. Like you're
Listen,
telling me this and your ear thing's doing this while you're telling me, it makes it even better.
Listen, when she said
Flopping
that,
in the wind.
I was on the ground crying in laughter. Victor thought something was wrong with me. So he comes flying over to my field going, are you okay? But then he realized I was laughing. And he said, what happened? And I finally climbed out from under the table. Zach, my home plate umpire, pulled off his mask, and there are tears streaming down his face. He turned to me with red eyes and holding his stomach, laughing. And I said, did you hear? And he stopped me mid question. He says, I heard every single word. And Ryan's grandmother came over to me and said, now do you understand why I told her to stop before she revealed the whole thing? Oh, it gets better. That was 2007. 6 years later, I'm covering Trinity International University for football. They're playing Olivet Nazarene, and I get the notes from Olivet Nazarene that Monday. I'm peering over the notes. Look right past the quarterback's name. And I was about to go to bed, and I said, wait a minute. I don't know why I'm looking at this again, but I'll look at it again. Yeah, kid's name, quarterback's name, Ryan Sample. I'm going, oh no, this can't be the same kid. So I'm up till 2 a.m. digging into my research. I said, this can't be the same kid from Mantino, Illinois, is it? Yeah, it's him. I waited till the next day. I went back into my office. I looked at the name again, and I said, this just can't be him. It's him. So I called Victor. Victor was my first call, and I said, Victor, you're not going to believe this. And he said, try me. You know, I'm preparing for TIU Olivet Nazarene at Leslie Frazier Field. And he says, yes. I said, you're not going to believe the name of the quarterback for Olivet Nazarene. And Victor's spider senses went up. His antennas went up and said, try me. I said, does the name Ryan Sample mean anything to you? He hung up. He hung up. 30 seconds later, he calls back and he goes, would you say that name to me again? And I said, I'm not kidding. The kid's name is Ryan Sample. He hung up again. He called back a third time. And he said, you're not making this up, are you? I said, Victor, I wish I was, but I'm not. Now I'm already thinking, how the hell am I going to get through this game knowing what I know from his mom and his dad without laughing? How am I going to say Ryan Sample's name and not just bust out laughing during a play-by-play sequence? And this is a radio call. So you've done a radio call now. You know the focus has got to be there on a play-by-play call. You know, Ryan Sample threw the ball 51 times.
Wow. So you had to say his name a lot.
I had to say his name 51 times. 51 times a version of Sample back to pass. And each time I said that, I wanted to fall out.
It's kind of like Darrell and I had this guy's name with Z in it that I couldn't even pronounce. So I started calling him the Z-Man. You should have started calling him Double S.
McCarthy, nope, I'm out. That's enough internet for today. And you know what, Ryan? I've got worse. I just can't do it here because we're out of time.
Yeah.
From my Sensei partner, Drew, I'm the Snowman. Thank y'all for tuning in to this edition of the Sports Senseis Unleashed. We'll be back with you next Friday. And
happy
also,
Easter, you guys.
Happy Easter indeed. Happy Good Friday to everybody. And just remember, we have our first station now, WQEE in Atlanta. Thank you all for tuning in out also.
And for those of you listening on those airwaves, just like Snowman reiterated, thank you very much for having us on the airwaves. Make sure you check out Snowman in the Morning, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern time, as well as the BSS show, the Brian Snow show, that you can check out on the afternoons at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Is there one today, Snowman?
There is. But
there's one today?
Yeah, there is. And it's going to be a little bit of a compilation from the interviews I've had this week.
And last but not least.
Go ahead.
Last but not least, do not forget, those of you in Georgia, you can check out Snowman Multimedia. You can check out the Brian Snow Show. You can check out Snowman in the Morning. But do not forget to check out the Legacy Maker Sports Network, as well as all of our projects there. And as well as tonight, we have the In-House Sports Debate, episode 89, with the legend Kyle Nash and Snowman's buddy of mine, Dietz, Totally Dietz, joins us on Saturday, 8:35 p.m. Eastern time. So that since you're listening at this 2 o'clock p.m. on Saturday, that evening, episode 90 on Legacy Maker Sports with Chris Dietz, Joey Raymond, and myself for In-House Sports Debate.
And I'm bringing the Snowman Army. Chris called for the Snowman Army. He shall have it. Ryan McCarthy says, happy Easter. This means I get resurrected on Sunday. And for Mr. McCarthy, who had a bone to pick with me earlier in the week, you get resurrected by, God help me, I'm going to do this, Yo King. And Ryan knows where I got that from. We are out of here. We'll see y'all next week. God bless you, everybody.